Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Blind Banter. I'm here with my podcast host, Carlos. Hey, Carlos. How are you doing tonight?
Not too bad, Lorne, not too bad. One of the things I think we should talk about is shopping, mainly because I recently went shopping and I realized that everything is completely different. I hadn't really left my house too much, um, do online shopping, or my parents do my shopping, unfortunately. um,
Lucky.
yeah, I know, right? But anyways, they have like these lines now that you have to follow, and there's like arrows on the ground apparently, and obviously the dog doesn't know that. So maybe we could just talk a little bit about that, and also like kind of some of the tools. I obviously hadn't done as much shopping, but one of the things that I noticed immediately is that people are still as willing to help, right? Like I was afraid that people would be like, oh, I don't want to get close to this guy because the coronavirus, whatever. But no, that was actually not the case. I feel like people were just as helpful. Definitely not as pushy as they used to be. Like, sir, can I help you find something like every 5 minutes? But definitely not unhelpful in the sense that they were just not going to let me, not help me at all. So tell me a little bit about your experiences. Obviously, has this been going on in Canada? You've probably done a lot more shopping than I have during the pandemic. So.
Yeah, we're always going out for formula or something for Sky. But so I find that people aren't as pushy as they used to be, but I find them nowadays a little bit more helpful than they used to be. But say in March, Aprilish, with all the hype and all the kind of I guess, craziness that went by, they definitely were not helpful whatsoever during that time. Like, it was hard to find anybody, period. And so I find, there are definitely a lot of lines and arrows and stuff on the floor, but most people aren't even paying attention to that anyways either. Like, it doesn't seem to be really working for them the same way as it's working for everybody else. And it's really strange that's the case, because I'm not sure exactly what has happened, but it definitely seems a little bit more difficult or just different than, I guess, well, before the pandemic for sure, but even just compared to, say, March or April, where everybody was paying attention, and you would look down one aisle, and if there's one other person, you wouldn't even go there. But now people are going the opposite ways of the arrows, and it just seems to be more normal. But I guess that's just life going back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are some people who follow it and are very religious about it, but most people, at least here, I think it's getting to a point where I've never been touched or anything by anybody, so I feel like there's still that hesitancy. Like before, people just grab me, right? And that's definitely not a thing anymore. But there's still helpful people, and there's still a willingness to help. So I think that's good. Now, a little bit about how shopping works for me, just to give a little general overview, right? So I usually go to the store. Either I know what I'm looking for. It's been really helpful to have like the pickup stuff because I can just go pick it up, or I'll use Ira to like find whatever it is that I'm looking for. And before I had Ira, I would always ask for help, right? I would get to the store and I would ask for help. And 99% of the time, people are very, very helpful. I mean, they're just, they're like, okay, what do you need? And they're going to look hard. Like I remember one time I was asking for a hamper, and the guy was like, okay, let's go. He couldn't find it. It took him like 10 minutes to find it, but he finally found them. Like he didn't just go, we don't have them, fuck it. And so we finally found it. And it was nice because he asked me like, okay, which one do you want? Does it matter about the color? So there's obviously those experiences, but I did have a bad experience at a grocery store where I went in, I wanted to buy some produce, and so I got the produce, and it was all good. And then I said, hey, do you guys have any pre-made food? He goes, pre-made food? I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, well, pre-made food. And he goes, 1 second. Goes over to his coworker and he goes, hey, do we have any pre-made food? She goes, what's that? He's like, I don't know. What do you mean by pre-made food? And I was like, well, like you guys have rotisserie chickens and like rice and chicken, that kind of. It's like, oh, you mean hot food? Yeah, we have hot food. And I was like, just like, okay, hot food, pre-made food. You know what I'm talking about, man. Like, why didn't you just say hot food? I'm like, I didn't realize that was very specific, and like you didn't understand me. Like to me, it's just tomato, and so it was kind of hilarious to me because he's like, yeah, we have hot food. you should have just said Hopwood from the beginning. I'm like, no, dude, I didn't realize that there'd be a huge difference. So there's those experiences. I've had other experiences where like the people are just like, they don't really try to look for stuff. They'll go, we don't have it. And it's like, are you sure? Because sometimes this is when I get most frustrated, right? Because I'm like, man, I wish I could just take a look over, because I'm a very detail-oriented person. I'm a very thorough person. And so I always, check where people don't check. And I feel like those are the times. But, you just have to swallow it and either A, look online and bring it up next time, or B, just ask them if they can look a little bit harder. That's usually, but like I said, thankfully most experiences have been positive. And so I think that makes a difference. But so, I mean, does your wife help you with most of the shopping now? But I imagine at one point, did you ever need that help?
Yeah, so I always used apps like say Be My Eyes, or I would use like Seeing AI or KNFB Reader back in the day. So I was able to do most of that stuff myself. It's obviously nicer if you go to a grocery store that you've never been at before, like when I'd be at work and I wouldn't go to that grocery store all the time. It was always nice to try to find someone and ask them. And that was one of the downfalls. Is I don't know if it's just they don't care, they don't get paid enough to care, or both, but they would just go, we don't have that. You go, what do you mean you don't have that? No, we don't have it. So then you have to try to find someone else, and they go, oh, it's right here. And even if you were to take that item and go back to them and go, well, what about this? They'd look and go, okay, and it's like, oh, so you don't want to learn, you don't want to do anything, you're just going to tell me that it's not there. And that's really one of the downsides to it. But having the apps and having those tools that you can use really kind of, I guess, makes grocery shopping bearable to a point. It makes it a lot longer because you have to go with the app and aisle upon aisle upon aisle. Unlike if you have Ira and they go, okay, it's right there, everything's good. But especially nowadays with having everything online, you can just
order
literally,
it.
Yeah, exactly. Order it all and go pick it up at Walmart or your nearest grocery store. And it just makes everything so much easier. Our local grocery store here has a thing where they have coolers inside of the store, and they'll text you a thing saying your order's ready and it's in locker number 7.
Yep.
And you can click on it, and there's actually a little button on there that says make an audible sound. And then as you're walking and you get closer to it, it'll actually make an audible sound and kind of chirp at you, so you know exactly where it is, and then you know exactly which one's yours, which is really nice.
Yeah, we have back at Penn, we have an Amazon pickup center, and it's a row of 5 displays, and you walk up to them and it tells you, like, so on your phone, you click on it and you said pick up my order, and then it takes you to the website, and it takes like 2 or 3 minutes for them to like upload everything. But once they do, it says your stuff is ready at locker number 5, let's say, right? And 5, they don't mean locker number 5, they mean the display. So you walk up to the 5th display, the last one on the row, and you just scan, and then it just beeps like you said, and it opens up one of the lockers, and you just, you listen for it, you feel for it, you grab it, close it, take your stuff, and you leave. So I really liked that as well, because everything was so easy. I found the one difficulty I had with that was if I ordered a lot of stuff, I couldn't necessarily carry it all and have my dog's harness and leash in the other hand. So that's kind of the difficulty when you don't have a car, so to speak, right? You just have to walk around. So what I would usually do is try to ask the guys to hold some of it, and I'd come back for it. But obviously I lived right there. I don't know. Have you ever had that problem, Lorne? I know you take the bus a lot, and you obviously have had to juggle a lot of things, probably your backpack, your bags, all this stuff. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so, well, first off, I would have just ordered a wagon off Amazon. Come on, Carlos.
I don't like wagons.
Yeah. So what I've done before, well, I would usually get it at home because I live in a very good neighborhood, to the point of where we don't really have too many porch pirates to come and steal stuff. But anything of value, we have a thing in Canada called flex delivery, and you could get it delivered to a flex mailbox, which would be at say a grocery store or convenience store near you, and you would just go there, pick it up from there. But I knew that if I was having, whatever the size of item would be, I would always have to bring either a bag, like a backpack or a duffel bag of that size, so I could put it in there and try to juggle it while I'm on the bus and operating a guide dog and all that other fun stuff. So I try to limit that to picking it up at places that I would be able to get a ride with my wife, or get it delivered to her work, because she would be able just to throw it in the vehicle and away we go. So I was very lucky to be able to do that, but there was definitely a lot of juggling before I had met her and trying to get things at home. But I would always feel awkward trying to leave it with someone, even though you live right there, because it's like, well, how trustworthy are they?
Oh, I would just leave it with the guy at the counter. It was like I mean, they were the ones who put the package in the locker, so.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I would imagine he's not going to steal my stuff. Yeah.
Some dude. Yeah. Hey, do you think you can hold this? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no. Is that what you really pictured me, just walking up to some random dude with his phone? Can you hold this for me? Sure. You know.
Well, I kind of expected it to be like a teacher or a staff member of some sort, but.
Well, maybe I should have explained the layout. So there's a bunch of lockers, and then there's a counter there with I don't know if he's an Amazon employee or an employee of Penn with the location, but regardless, they're the ones who put the packages in the lockers in the first place. So yeah, he might steal my package, you know. I think if he would have done that, he would have done it before he put it in the locker.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so I was trustworthy in that regard, but it definitely, especially dog food boxes, like those were the worst because you'd have to carry them back. And here I am walking like, you know, I was muscular enough to carry it. Like at first it would be like, dude, this is so light. But then, you know, I had probably a walk of about a block and a half. So by like the block, I was like, okay, this is not ending well. This is not going that well. And then by the time I was trying to open the door and juggle it, and then there'd always be, it seemed like always there was something that happened. Like one time there was a dog there and it was like, you know, barking, and my dog tried to go after that dog, and then there were some girls there that were like trying to hold the door open, and then like I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but like they hold the door open, but instead of holding it, they hold it open so that it's in your path. So then like I walked right into the door. It was terrific. I mean, it was the best day of my life. Like bumped my head on it, and I wasn't even like, it didn't hurt, right? Like I bumped my head on a lot of times. I'm not, it's not my concern. What was frustrating was that they were like getting in my way. I'm trying to get this pack. And they're like, oh my God, we're so sorry. You could just try to hold the door open. I can't believe are you okay? And I'm like, can you move, please? I'm trying to juggle this bag of dog food, and you're in my way, just trying to talk to me like I'm fine. Just like I'm trying to put it down.
Get out, yeah.
Right. So yeah, I do definitely a lot of experiences like those. Carrying stuff down the street is not fun. Usually, when I did live in a house off campus, I did have it delivered on the porch because realistically, let's be honest, you know, it's a pretty heavy package. It says chewy.com on it. I'm sure that the guy's not going to, some porch boy is going to go, ooh, food for my dog. You know,
well, it is getting more and more expensive every day.
That is true. But smaller packages usually I'd have delivered to the location, and that went well. Now, groceries. Have you ever had groceries delivered to your house?
Yes. So we've tried it twice. And
now,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, my concern with having groceries delivered to my house would be that they pick produce in particular. That's not produce I would pick. So did you have that experience? Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah. So that's actually why we started off, because there was like a $15 coupon credit thing if you use it for the first time. So we thought, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to buy $50 worth of stuff, because even at $15 off, you know, it's $35. Not too bad of a deal. And we just got a bunch of produce and all the fresh stuff, as well as some bread and things like that, like fresh bread, because we wanted to see kind of how everything was. And you know, they did it probably just as good as we would have. And we were really surprised. And I remember when the guy comes there, and I was looking at some of the stuff before I accepted it, and I said, wow, this stuff's in really good condition. And he goes, well, if we choose to get all the spoiled stuff, as most people would consider, they would just contact the company. We wouldn't get paid. And that's it. So we're not going to go here and try to screw you by, getting you some wilted lettuce or some rotting celery, because A, the store shouldn't be selling that.
Yes.
And B, if you have issues with it, you can actually contact the company and they'll give you a discount, almost like Uber Eats does, or probably DoorDash, if they screw up your order, or they give you whatever's wrong with your order. So they're very careful with that because they obviously want to make the full amount of money, and it's coming out of their own pockets if they don't supply you with the proper good quality food that you're expecting.
See, now that makes sense. But what about things like bananas? Like, just, example that comes to mind is like way overripe bananas that, like, if you don't eat them in the next 3 days, they're just going to go bad. Versus,
So we got ones that were slightly green, and because they asked us in the app, did you want ones that are like super ripe, or do you want ones that will be ripe within the next couple days? And you can choose, because if you're going to make banana bread, you probably want something overripe. If you're going to want to have a banana every day, yeah.
Once you get the AIs, it'll like tell you what degree of ripeness they are and everything. It'll pick it out for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a really neat experience, and we probably would have used it more, but we like just to have somewhat of a reason to get out of the house, especially with a young one. And we also find that a lot of the time the service fees are fairly high.
Yeah. Well, it's just like Uber Eats, you were saying earlier, right? Like, you order something, and first of all, it's a little bit more expensive than it would be at the restaurant, right? Like the wings might be $12.99 on Uber Eats, and at the restaurant they're $11.49. And then you also get like service charge, $7.27, and then delivery charge, $5.99. Total charge, taxes, all this stuff. So,
like, I don't know if they have it in the States, but a lot of the time they'll have like, $0 delivery fee. That's fine. Like, the delivery fee is 99 cents or $1.99. I don't care about that. What I care about is that if you don't order something of usually, I think it's like $15 or $20 at
$15.
least, then they charge you a small order fee. And then you have a service charge and this and that. Like, I went to order Burger King because I hadn't had Burger King for months. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go get a Whopper meal. And the Whopper meal was $10.49. No issues. After getting dinged with the small service or the small order fee and the service charge, now they're only located like a block and a half away.
Why don't you just go?
Because dumb me, I had all my all the masks that we wear was in our vehicle, and Christy was gone for everything with Sky. So I thought, like, I don't even have a mask at home, so unfortunately I can't even just go to the store, and of course I can't go through the drive-through because they're not going to expect walkthroughs. So
I get my dog and go through the
exactly. My Chevrolet legs.
Right.
Yeah, my Chevrolet legs. Yeah.
Right.
So I was like,
genuine black leather exterior.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you mean interior? No, this is an exterior. Renewable energy source.
One dog power.
Cleaner than a Tesla.
Yeah. Fully renewable. Yeah. Right. So I was like, okay, I'm going to order it. So something that cost $10.49 after everything was said and done was $19.50.
Did you end up paying?
No.
I was going to say.
I couldn't bring myself to, when you're
I would have just waited for your wife to come back. Yeah.
Well, I pretty much just texted her and said, hey, do you think you could pick this up for me?
Yeah, exactly. That makes so much better sense.
It cost us like $11 after taxes. But just having those types of things, the convenience is great. But if you're willing to pay for it, that's fine. But I'm just finding that when you're paying $7, $8, $9 for it, it's really expensive. And like Instacart is like 10% a lot of the time of your grocery bill. And then there's also other fees. So it's not uncommon to see your fees of like $15 to $17, which is really expensive when you only need to grab, a few things.
Well, that's why you save it for like a massive order at the end of the week.
Yeah, but like the nice thing, what we've been doing is Walmart. So what you do is you pick out all your groceries at Walmart, and then you can just literally drive your vehicle to the spot. You call the number, you tell them I'm in spot B. They come up, ask you your name, you show them the receipt, and they just load the vehicle for you.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
So
they did that at Office Max, I think it was. Yes, we went to Office Max and they did that for us. It was nice.
Yeah, it's really, and they don't charge you extra. And
Yeah.
Walmart's usually decent for groceries. So we usually will go in, buy, a couple $100 worth of stuff, and that'll last us for like 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm.
And then we only have to go out for milk and things like that. But just trying to find different ways of doing it, or using there's also an app, the Flip app. You can create all your grocery lists, and you can load those into, like a Walmart or a Loblaws or like Kroger or whatever you want. And if they have the online pick up, or I guess, the online ability for you to go pick it up in store or delivery, you can
Yeah.
actually just switch it over to their portal, and you've already got your grocery list done.
See, I didn't know about all these tools. These are all news to me. So that's definitely helpful. I was always doing it the old-fashioned way, going into the grocery store. I have actually a funny story to tell about that. So my teacher got like my middle school teacher of the visually impaired. I don't know if you guys had this in Canada, but she's she works with all the students who are blind and visually impaired and tries to prepare them for life or whatever. Right. So she was big on like independence and all this stuff, and she wanted me as a 7th grader to go and like make a grocery list and pick up everything. Right. So she made up her grocery list. And she's like, "You're gonna go pick it up. I'll, give you the money, everything, right?"
Okay,
So we
child
went.
labor.
I mean, yeah, I guess. So we go and we pick it up, and she wants me to try out the Ask a Guy, right? So ask the Pick and Save is what the store's called here, Pick and Save. It's like ask the Pick and Save customer service team if they can get somebody to get you, right? So they give me this college kid. He's like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" I was like, "Hey, man, I'm here with this list. Can you help me pick it up?" He's like, "Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Here, let's take a look. Let's take a look." All right. That type of dude. And he's talking to me and everything. He's like, "So, bro, what you up to now?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in 7th grade. I'm just chilling." He's like, "Oh, that's cool, bro. You think you're going to go to college?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's 4 years of your life, bro." That type of dude. And he's grabbing the stuff as we're talking, right? And so whatever, we get all the stuff, they pay for it, get to the car, and she goes, "Yeah, a lot of this stuff is wrong." I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Just an example here. I said vegetarian frozen pizza. He got the all meat frozen pizza, like the extra meat, like Lover's frozen pizza." He's like, "I said chunky peanut butter. He got the smoothie." He's like, "I guess that's not that big a deal. This one's a big deal. I said watermelon. He got cantaloupes."
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, so she's like, "Yeah, maybe this guy's not the best." And she's like, "You should call back and see what they say, right?" And I was like, so I called back and I told the manager, like, "Hey, this, I worked with, I don't remember his name, let's say it's John, right?" I was like, "I worked with John, and he didn't do such a good job. He got me the meat lovers pizza instead of the vegetarian pizza." He's like, "Oh, yeah, well, we'll have a conversation with him. Definitely come in and replace your stuff. We'll have another team member help you." I hung up, and I remember thinking, man, it would have been really awkward if I would have gotten him to answer the phone, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, John, yeah, man, it looks like you're pretty dumb." I mean, literally, okay, I understand, like, maybe he gets, like, the sausage pizza, right, instead of, like, but literally, it's, like, the exact opposite, like, extra meat versus vegetarian pizza. So that was my first experience, and she goes, "Yeah, maybe there's another alternative." At the time, we didn't have these, like, now there's, grocery delivery apps and pickup apps everywhere, right? But
Yeah.
this was, 5-6 years ago? So not even more, actually, probably like 7 years ago. So obviously at that time there was one called, I can't even think of the name, but it was like the only grocery delivery company, and they charged like an insane amount of money to deliver groceries. So she's like, "That's probably a prohibitive option, but that might be better because some of these employees are definitely not, they're not on the ball. They don't care. They're getting paid minimum wage." And so you really have to be sure. Now, I do think that would have probably been a little bit better if she would have told me the list, because instead of like, I didn't even know. I just handed this guy the list because she's like, "This is how you would do it. You would make it on your computer and you print it out." Right. And this guy, as he was picking out the stuff, like I've had that same experience more recently with another guy. And every time they'd pick out the stuff, they'd say, "Okay, we got the broccoli here. You said 2 heads. Okay, 2 heads here. Make sure that's what you're looking for," right? Like that type of thing. Versus this guy, he was just, "Yeah, bro. So like you're a wrestler? That's cool, bro." Like he's just talking and picking stuff out, and he's like, He's like, yeah, dude, I tried wrestling for a while, but like I got hurt. Like I'm a wimp, dude. I gotta tell you, like, and he's like grabbing the pizzas, you know, like, so he definitely wasn't on the ball, and that was, you know, what's the word? In hindsight, it probably should have took me off that he was just kind of going through the motions, but yeah, definitely not a good experience with that guy, and kind of wish I could know him now because I feel like he'd be an interesting guy to I was kind
party
of
with.
yeah.
Cantaloupe versus watermelon. Let's figure this one out.
They're both, well, isn't a cantaloupe considered a melon?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's what he thought. Melon, just forgot the water. All right. That's a good one. That's a good one. A cantaloupe is a melon that hasn't been watered, so it wasn't allowed to grow.
Not to mention a watermelon's green and a cantaloupe's like a beige sandy color.
Just thought it was funny how she goes, like, she took back to the car and she goes, yeah, I don't think that guy was that great. Because I was telling her, like, yeah, that guy was good. He was talking and everything. And she didn't say anything until we went outside. And she goes, yeah, I don't think that guy was that great. I was like, well, what's wrong? You know, you seem to have everything. She goes, yeah, but he didn't quite get everything that I asked for. She's like, example, vegetarian pizza, meat lovers pizza.
Oh, you gotta love that though. That's hilarious.
It's meat lovers, of course I love it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that. That was probably the most negative experience. But like I said, I've had a lot of other good experiences at grocery stores and just in general, like stores when I go shopping for like anything, right? Toothpaste, toilet paper, dental floss, whatever it is, right? I feel like one of the things that I like to do now is I go to the same small store and I know where everything is. It's probably, 1,000, 2,000 square feet. So everything is generally pretty accessible. And
right.
So now I know, and this is a solution, right? Because Ira offers like a short amount of time that you can go. So now what I do is just walk into the general area. I know that I'm there because I make a couple turns and all this stuff, right? And then I call them up and it literally takes like a minute from them to go, okay, you're looking for the, Colgate branded toothpaste. It's right there on your right. Like, all right, thanks. See you later. And then I walk out. I think that's one of the advantages of having a guide dog as well, because you can just follow him and he gets used to like, okay, you're looking for the prescriptions. Okay, they're on this way, right? He'll always stop at the juncture and go, are we going this way? Are we going to the right? We're going to the straight. And I was like, all right, let's go. And so that's definitely an advantage of having a dog as well, that they remember where they're going.
Yeah. One of the major things that I kind of dislike about grocery shopping by myself is the amount of stuff you can pick up is not a lot, because you're literally one-handed and you're trying to, obviously you're not going to be able to push a cart. You can maybe hold a basket, but depending on how much, interactions you have to do with the items, aka trying to find them or going around, and as you get more and more heavy, then it's like, okay, well, I have to carry all of that home and I can't use both hands. I can only use one hand. And especially because using a guide dog, you travel and you walk so differently than what you would normally walk. So you've got this animal kind of like, moving you back and forth as you're trying to hold these really heavy shopping bags. So you can't really do a lot. So you're doing a lot more trips, it feels like. But one thing that a lot of people didn't know is most of these stores actually, for many, many, many years before even apps and all this other stuff, they were doing grocery delivery because they usually would do it for seniors or people that really couldn't drive back and forth. And a lot of them surprisingly had a thing that, if you bought more than $50 worth of groceries, they deliver them within whatever their delivery schedule was, but it was usually free or for a very small nominal fee, because it would help with people that were, say, pensioners or on a fixed budget and they just needed delivery. So all you really ever had to do was just pick up the phone and call your local place and just see if they had some form of delivery.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I just started recently, so like I don't necessarily I didn't necessarily know about that, but I do know that, like, especially the smaller grocery stores, the mom and pop ones did that. But most of the grocery stores, at least in my city, are like pick and save. They're large chains that like are standardized, right? So they're not really going to do anything special for you. So there's all, you have to take one of different creative routes. But thankfully, like you said, there's so many things now. We pick up, there's delivery to your door. There's probably, even if you look in your city, I'm sure that there's there might even be something that you can subsidize, like the delivery fees, because that's the only way you can get like large grocery orders, right? So, there's always a solution to the problem, and it's really one of those that's unique. Like I know here, we have a service to get to and from places if you schedule it beforehand, right? So like that's one, but it's not necessarily available in every city. So I guess the biggest tip here would be to look around, talk to your local blindness community, ask other people how they do it. Well, I'll tell you how I got some ideas from Philly. When I was in Philly, I was looking for a deli, right? I was going up the street looking for a deli with my dog. And this guy goes, I'm walking, and this guy goes, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me." And I was like, "You can't be talking to me." He said, "Are you talking to me?" He goes, "Yeah. Can you help me for a second?" I go, "Sure." I know this guy. And my dog, he gets a little like, a little feisty when he sees other dogs. So I start feeling him tug on the leash, and I was like, "There's another dog here." And then he's going, "No, hey, no." And I'm going like pulling him back, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm looking for the deli here. Can you help me find it? I'm blind." And I'm like, actually, it's kind of awkward because I'm looking for the exact same deli, and I'm also blind, and I have a dog, and your dog is like, they're trying to see each other here. It's like, "Oh my God, another blind guy." I was like, "Yeah, dude, nice to meet you." So we start talking, and we go into the deli, and we start ordering. He goes, "So how long have you lived here?" He starts talking to me about all this, and he goes, "You should come down to the rec center," all this stuff, right? I wish I could have gone down there. This was right before the pandemic, so I obviously didn't get a chance. I came back to Wisconsin. But so take advantage of chance encounters like those, because those are the kinds of things where, like, I didn't expect to meet this guy. Like never in a million years would I expect a blind guy to ask me for help, because I'm the one who's usually like, "Hey, like I need some help here finding this deli." But instead he asked me, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, that's one way, and take advantage. I asked him for his number, took down his number, because at best he can be a resource, and worst
for
he
sure.
can just be some guy who I can stay in touch with, and maybe learn a little bit from him. So always be on the lookout for those types of opportunities. So I think we can recap it now here. We talked a lot about grocery shopping and different strategies for shopping in general, from delivery to pickup. Told a couple funny stories about the college kid who was really cool, bro. And then we finally finished off with the blind guy who asked me for help. I think that's it, right, Lorne? Unless you have anything else to add.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't really have any news for you guys in regards to our video contest through the Lime Connect network in the Limelight 2020. But I'm hoping by the next podcast for sure we will, because apparently after the 31st of August, they'll start giving us links, which I will be posting in the show notes. And we're also going to be a little bit more active on the social media channels that we have. We just uploaded all our past episodes of the podcast that we do live. We put that all on YouTube, so you've got 1 through 10 up there as well. And you can reach us via Gmail, and the emails at blindbanter@gmail.com. We also are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Just the Blind Banter. You'll figure it out. You'll find us, and definitely look for more information. And we'll absolutely need your help with some of the voting so that we can become viewers' choice. So
thanks a lot, guys.
that's everything. So thank you again, guys, and until next time, stay safe.